is said to be strongly irreversible rings. Here we give some counter examples which shows that every reversible is irreversible but not conversely true. So for any idempotent element of R. So here we take an example, an upper triangular 2 cross 2 upper triangular matrix whose entries comes from a domain D. So if we take an idempotent E11, E11 means its A11 entries is 1 and other entries are 0. So if we take E11 as an idempotent, so it is R is an E11 reversible, but it is not reversible, because if we take A equal to E12 and B equal to E11 of R, so easily we can see that AB equal to 0, but BA, which is E12, which is non-zero. So it is not reversible, but it is E11 reversible. Now we give here an example which shows that irreversible ring need not be strongly irreversible ring. Uh, Now consider an example as we shown above, that R is in 2 cross 2 upper triangular matrix where entries comes from domain. So as I saw above, that R is an E11 reversible, but it is not strongly E11 reversible, because if you take A equal to 0 1 1 0 1 and B equal to 1 0 0 0, so AB equal to 0, but if you take an idempotent E11, so B E11A, which is 0 1 0 0, it is non-zero. So it is not strongly E11 reversible, but it is E11 reversible. Next we give an example which is strongly irreversible but not reversible ring. So I here we take a ring S, which is R modulo I, where R is a D generated by X comma Y, where this is the free D algebra of free D ring, uh, and D is a division ring with non-commutating variables X comma Y, and we take if we take a ideal generated by X into Y, and let A and B be any element of S, X plus I and Y plus I, and take an idempotent E equal to I. So easily we can see AB equal to 0, but BEA equal to BEA is also 0 in R modulo I, so it is strongly irreversible. But BA, which is Y plus I, X plus I, which is non-zero, because here variables are non-commutating, so it is non-zero in R modulo I, so it is not reversible ring, but it is strongly irreversible rings. Next we give a result. Now given a ring R containing an idempotent element E of R, then for any R1 R2 R3 and so on Rn minus 1 belong to R, define the idempotent X of the ring upper triangular matrix ring TNR of n cross n matrices over R to be X equal to as shown this, then R is E1 irreversible if and only if upper triangular matrix TNR is X reversible. Now let R be any ring and E be an idempotent element of R. So R is reversible if and only if TNR is E11 reversible for any n greater or equal 1 by above theorem. This is the corollary. Next, R is strongly irreversible or irreversible if and only if diagonal matrix DNR is strongly EIN reversible for any n greater or equal 1. Next, we give that let I be any reduced ideal of a ring R and E be an idempotent of element of R. So for any E bar an idempotent of R modulo I. So if R modulo I is strongly E bar reversible, then R is strongly irreversible ring. Now here we give an example, which is give an example in which ideal is not reduced, but it is R modulo I is strongly E bar reversible. Let R equal to F0F, where F is any field, and taking I an ideal FF00, which is not reduced, because if you take any non-zero element of this 0 1 0 0, so it is nilpotent, but it is non-zero in I, so it is not reducible. uh, then R modulo I is E bar reversible or strongly E bar reversible for any idempotent element of R modulo I, because R modulo I we can easily see that it is isomorphic to F, which is filled, so it is strongly E bar reversible ring. But it is not irreversible, because if we take an idempotent E22 and element A equal to 0 1 0 0 0 1, B equal to 1 1 0 0, then AB equal to, but BAE is non-zero, so it is not irreversible, so it is not strongly irreversible. But R modulo I is strongly E bar reversible ring. Now from 2, an idempotent E of a ring is said to be left semicentral if AE equal to EAE for any element A of R. And ring R is said to be abelian if all its idempotent of R are central. Now next, let Ri with the family of rings and Ei with the idempotent elements of product of Ri. Then product of Ri is in Ei reversible rings if and only for each I, Ri is an Ei reversible ring. Next, R is an irreversible ring if and only if ERE is a reversible ring and E is left semicentral. Next, these are our main results. R is a strongly irreversible ring if and only if ERE is a reversible ring and E is an idempotent of center of R. Next is a corollary. R is a strongly irreversible ring if and only if R is an irreversible ring and E is an idempotent element of center of R. Now from 3, a ring R is said to be left reflexive if ERE equal to 0 implies ERA equal to 0 for any A of R. And then we have R is a strongly irreversible ring if and only if R is an irreversible and left reflexive. So this is characterization in terms of left reflexive rings. Next, R is a reversible ring if and only if R is both an irreversible and 1 minus irreversible ring. So we have corollary. R is a reversible ring if and only if R is a strongly irreversible ring and 1 minus E R 1 minus E is a reversible ring. These are some references of my paper. Thank you.
Okay, very nice presentation by
Thank you,
Rohit
sir.
Kumar. And
Thank you, sir.
any question from uh, other sides? Means there any student, any participant who want to ask? In this, student are joined or not? Any other participant that's
They joined, sir. They are here.
joined that. So
Okay, excuse me. Good
any
afternoon.
question? Okay.
Uh, Sir, may I ask one question?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. My name is Devraj Roy. I am one of the presenter. May I
Okay.
ask one question to Mr. Rohit, if I'm allowed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
here I go. Mr. Rohit, you generated a class which is a generalization of reversible ring, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Hello? Yes. And obviously you gave some
Yes, yes.
property,
It is
some
a
extension
generalization of
property and
ring.
some other. Exactly. Now, my question is, there are
Yeah.
some existing classes, other existing generalization classes of reversible ring, like weakly reversible ring, p-reversible ring, or central reversible ring.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
can you shed any
yeah.
light on it, any
It should,
relationship?
yeah, it should be. No, central
Yeah. So,
reversal
can you
means if AB equal to 0 implies BA equal to
AB
0,
0, then BA
and
belongs to the
these
center
elements
of the
are
ring.
comes
Like
from
AB 0, BA belongs to the prime
center of the
radical of
ring.
the
Yeah,
ring.
yeah.
So,
It's
can you
yeah,
shed
yeah,
us?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cent-
So can you please give
yeah,
us any
yeah, yeah.
information regarding the relationship
So
between this ring and your ring? Is my question, is my curiosity clear?
yeah, this is clear. But here we give an idempotent only. So I'm not taking any center of element from center of R. Okay, and I'm only taking
Of course, of course.
idempotent of
But
ring.
but what about the relationship? Like if your ring implies to be central reversible or central reversible implies to be your reversible, or if it is not imply, if they are not related, is there any example proves that this ring need not imply to be the other ring?
Yeah,
Are you getting
yeah,
my question?
I did it in my paper, but this is not shown here. Okay, uh,
Okay.
I did it in my paper. I
Devraj,
gave
if
many
you have
examples.
any other queries, so you may contact email IDs given of Rohit Kumar.
No, of course. I just
Yeah,
I
sure,
just
sir,
had
can
sure,
one
sir.
discuss.
curiosity that relationship between
Yeah,
this ring
yeah,
and
I
the
did
other
many
existing
question,
generalized
many
classes of
examples. Yeah.
okay.
I did it, but in my presentation, this is not shown here. Okay, but I did.
Okay. Okay. And may I ask one more, if I'm allowed, please?
No, because time limit is actually
Okay.
the other.
Acha.
We have to wind up within 1.5 hours.
Okay. Sure,
Other
sure. Thank you, thank
person.
you. It was a very,
So
very
for
interesting
any other
work,
queries,
and
you can contact through email.
and of course, I liked it. It's a very interesting work. I
Okay.
loved it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rohit.
Okay, thank you.
Mm,
Thank you, sir.
so, Zee?
So it was nice presentation. Now, sir, now we have the next candidate. Sir, should we go for the first one or third one next?
You again call Anuradha if joined or not.
Anuradha is here. Okay. Now I request Nirbhay Kumar to
Yes,
go ahead.
sir.
Okay, Nirbhay. Okay, Nirbhay, you
Yes.
proceed. First, one time presenter, open your camera, then start. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Before start, that's you put on your camera. That's why Nirbhay is quit the. Is any problem?
Maybe sir, the internet issue. Just wait for
Just
10 minutes.
we have to wait. That's okay.
I request every person to be at the till the end of this session. So at the last we will do the photo session. Just Nirbhay is presenting now. Just Nirbhay, your presentation is visible. Just go to the
Okay, sir.
presentation mode. And
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nirbhay Kumar. I am a research scholar under the supervision of Dr. Avnish Kumar Chaturvedi at the Department of Mathematics, University of Allahabad, Prayagraj, India. The topic of my presentation is on some extension of Z-symmetric rings. I am starting my presentation by taking assumption that throughout the presentation, all the rings are associative rings with identity unless otherwise stated. Following two, an element A of a ring R is called a left GeoDivisor if there exists a non-zero element B in R such that AB is equal to 0. Similarly, an element A of a ring R is called a right GeoDivisor if there exists a non-zero element B in R such that BA is equal to 0. Naturally, an element A in R called a zero divisor if it is both left and right GeoDivisor. The set of all left GeoDivisors, right GeoDivisors, and zero divisors of a ring R is denoted by ZLR, ZRR, and ZR respectively. Note that a left GeoDivisor need not be a right GeoDivisor and vice versa. For example, the matrix 0, 2, 0, 1 is a left GeoDivisor but not a right GeoDivisor in the ring in the matrix ring Z, Z2, 0, Z. Recall that a ring R is called reduced if a to the power n is equal to 0 implies a is equal to 0 for all a belongs to R and n belongs to n. A ring R is called symmetric if ABC is equal to 0 implies BAC is equal to 0 for all A, B, and C belongs to R. A ring R is called reversible if AB is equal to 0 implies BA is equal to 0 for all A and B belongs to R. It is clear that Reduced rings are symmetric and symmetric rings are reversible, but the converse need not be true in general. There are several generalizations of reversible rings and symmetric rings. Recently, Igazagai et al. Defined the notion of irreversible ring, which is a generalization of reversible rings. They call a ring R irreversible if every left geodivisor is a right geodivisor, and conversely, that is, a ring R is called irreversible if A belongs to ZLR, if and only if A belongs to ZRR. By the motivation of the above concepts, we introduce a new concept of a Z-symmetric ring as a generalization of irreversible rings. We call a ring R left Z-symmetric if for any A comma B belongs to R, whenever AB belongs to ZLR, then BA belongs to ZLR. We call a ring R right Z-symmetric if for any A and B belongs to R, whenever AB belongs to ZRR, then BA belongs to ZRR. We call a ring R Z-symmetric if it is both left and right Z-symmetric. The idea of Z-symmetric ring is defined in the paper entitled On Z-symmetric ring, which had been accepted for the publication in the journal Mathematica Slovakia. Now we give some example of Z-symmetric rings. We prove that every reversible ring is Z-symmetric. Hence, obviously, all the reversible rings are Z-symmetric rings. In the following, we give an example of a ring which is Z-symmetric ring but not irreversible. Recall that a ring R is called semi-commutative if for any A comma belongs to R, whenever AB is equal to 0, then ARB is equal to 0. We prove that every semi-commutative ring is Z-symmetric. In the following example, we show that a Z-symmetric ring need not be semi-commutative. Let T and R be the ring of n cross n upper triangular matrices over a commutative ring R. Then for any n greater than or equal to 2, the triangular ring T and R is Z-symmetric but not semi-commutative. Now we discuss some characterization of Z-symmetric rings. The following result shows that why we choose name Z-symmetric ring for this class of ring. In other words, the following result shows that deviation of Z-symmetric ring from the symmetric ring. We prove that a ring R is left Z-symmetric if and only if for any A, B, and C belongs to R, if ABC is equal to 0, then either BAC is equal to 0 or there is a non-zero element C dash in R such that BAC dash is equal to 0. A similar result can be proved for right Z-symmetric rings. Recall that a ring R is called Dedekind finite or directly finite if AB is equal to 1, then BA is equal to 1 for all A and B belongs to R. We prove that every left Z-symmetric ring is a Dedekind finite ring. Recall that a ring R is called von Neumann regular if for any x belongs to R, there exists y belongs to R such that x is equal to x. In general, a von Neumann regular need not be Dedekind finite and a Z-symmetric ring need not be von Neumann regular. In the following result, we observe that the notion of left and right Z-symmetric ring is same over the von Neumann regular ring. We show that a von Neumann regular ring R is irreversible if and only if it is left Z-symmetric, if and only if it is right Z-symmetric ring, if and only if it is a Dedekind finite ring. Now we discuss some extension of Z-symmetric rings. First, we prove that an arbitrary product of rings is a left Z-symmetric ring if and only if every ring of the product is a left Z-symmetric ring. As a corollary, we have if E is a central idempotent in a ring R, then the ring R is a left Z-symmetric if and only if RE and R1 minus E, that is a ring ideal right ideal generated by E and right ideal generated by 1 minus E are left Z-symmetric. Recall that if S is a multiplicatively closed subset of a ring R consisting of central non-zero divisors, then the set denoted and defined by S inverse R is equal to AB inverse A belongs to R as B belongs to S form a ring with respect to the following addition and multiplication. This ring is called as localization of R at S. Now we have a characterization of ring R in terms of their localization. We prove that a ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if S inverse R is left-just symmetric. If the polynomial ring and a Lorentz series ring in the variable x over a ring R is denoted by Rx and Rx x inverse respectively, then we have the following. For any ring R, the polynomial ring Rx is left-just symmetric if and only if the Lorentz series ring Rx x inverse is left-just symmetric. Recall that if alpha is an automorphism of a ring R and A R alpha is the subset x to the power minus I into R into s to the power I, R belongs to R, I greater than or equal to 0, of the skew polynomial ring R x inverse alpha, then A R alpha form a subring of the skew polynomial ring. Now we have a characterization of the ring R in terms of the A R alpha. We prove that a ring R is a left-just symmetric if and only if A R alpha is left-just symmetric. Next, recall that a ring R, let R be a ring and S belongs to R be a central element. Central element means an element which commute with the every element of the ring. Then the set of all 2 cross 2 matrices over the ring R with the operation this, that means usual addition, and with special multiplication given by this, form a ring. This ring is denoted by KSR and called as generalized matrix ring over R. Now we give a characterization of the ring R in terms of the K0R. We prove that a ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if K0R is left-just symmetric. Next, let R be an algebra over a commutative ring S. Then the set R crosses with the operation this and this, where Ri belongs to R and Si belongs to S, form a ring with identity 0, 1s. This ring is called as Dora extension of R by S. We denote this ring by R star S. The construction of this ring was due to GL Dora in 4 for S is equal to Z. We prove that if S is an unitary algebra over a commutative ring S, then the Dora extension R star X is left-just symmetric if and only if R is left-just symmetric. Recall that for any ring R, S, where S is the collection of all the upper triangular 3 cross 3 upper triangular matrices whose diagonal is same and 1 to entry is 0, is a summary of the upper triangular matrix ring T3R. Now we have a characterization of the ring R in terms of S. We prove that a ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if the ring S is left-just symmetric. Now we give a characterization of the ring R in terms of the matrix upper triangular matrix ring TNR. We prove that a ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if TNR is left-just symmetric. Next, we prove that if R is left-just symmetric if the matrix ring M and R is left-just symmetric, but its converse need not be true in general. Recall that for any ring R, Rn, which is the collection of the all upper triangular matrices of order n whose diagonal entry is same, is a subring of the upper triangular matrix ring TNR. Here we give the following characterization. We prove that a ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if Rn is left-just symmetric. Recall that if M is a bimodule over a ring R, then the set R comma M, R belongs to R, M belongs to M, form a ring under the operation this and this, where Ri belongs to R and Mi belongs to M. This extension is known as the trivial extension of R by M and denoted by TRM. As a direct consequence of the above result, we have the following. A ring R is left-just symmetric if and only if TRR is left-just symmetric. Recall from 12, a ring R is called Armendariz ring if for any polynomial fx and gx, whenever fx into gx is equal to 0, then the product of their coefficient is also 0. That means ai bj is equal to 0 for any I and j. For an Armendariz ring, we have the following properties. And just symmetric ring need not be Armendariz ring, and Armendariz ring need not be just symmetric. Next, we have if the polynomial ring Rx is left-just symmetric, then R is left-just symmetric. The converse statement hold if R is an Armendariz ring. These are my references. Thank you.
Okay, it's nice presentation by the Nirbhay Kumar. And just sit. What happens that? Okay, so my voice is audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. So you have also studied of the subrings of the your jet symmetric rings or not?
Subrings, yes, sir. We could not prove in that in journal subring of a geometric ring need not be so geometric.
Need not be.
Yes.
So this is the, you can say that a problem. Under what conditions that is subring of a jet symmetric
Yes,
ring?
sir. Yes, sir. This is actually problem.
Okay. Any other questions, sir? If you want, please 1 minute only.
Hello.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Sir. One question.
Yes.
You have mentioned ki reduced ring. Hello.
Yes.
Nirbhay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, what are the relation between reduced and nilpotent ring? Okay.
Nilpotent ring. Every reducing is nilpotent.
Okay.
नहीं, nilpotent ring means that every element of the ring is nilpotent, and reducing that means कि A has no non-zero nilpotent element.
So, can you give any example?
At this moment, I have not any example in my mind, but it can be.
Next.
I think you go in the matrix, so you will get the example.
Okay, it may be, but I am not.
Okay. Okay. Take it. Thank you.
Okay, Ajit, call the next.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I could not download the, matlab print the sheet.
Okay. Okay.
because
No
the
problem, sir.
power interruptions that.
Okay, Nirbhay, you did very well.
Thank you, sir.
Now, sir, we have again the Avinash sir student Sandeep Kumar. Sandeep,
Yes, sir.
are you ready?
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Sandeep Kumar from the Department of Mathematics, University of Allahabad. I doing PhD under the supervision of Dr. Avnish Kumar Chaturvedi. My topic of the presentation is a note on AP injective module. The outline of the presentation is as follows: introduction, definition, examples, some properties and characterization and references. First, introduction. Let M and N be two right arm modules as defined by Baba in 1989. M is said to be almost N injective if for each submodule K of N and each homomorphism F from K to M either there exists G from N to M such that F is equal to I of Z, or there exists a decomposition N is equal to N1 direction N2 with N1 is not equal to 0, and a homomorphism H from M to N1 such that F of H is equal to I of 5. Here I is a inclusion map and pi is a projection from N to N1. If M is almost M injective, then M is called almost self-injective module. M is called almost injective if it is almost relative injective to all module N. If N is indecomposable module, then condition 2 in the above definitions gives that for every F from K to M, where K is some module of N, there exists H from N to M to N such that F of H is equal to I, where I is an inclusion map from K to N, and so F must be 1-1 map. In 2005, Q. Dean says that a right arm module M is called pseudo N injective if every submodule A of N, any monomorphism from A to M can be extended to a homomorphism from N to M. If M is pseudo M injective, then M is called pseudo injective. For a right arm module M, we denote SOC, JM, EM essential for Sokal, Jacobson, radical, and injective hull, and so on, respectively. Throughout this paper, all rings are associative ring with identity, and all modules are unity right arm modules. We refer to Anderson and Fuller for all undefined notions and terms. By the motivation of above definition, we define the notion of AP injective modules. Definition: for any two right arm modules M and N, M is called APN injective if for every submodule K of N and every monomorphism F from K to M, either there exists G from N to M such that F is equal to I of G, or there exists H from M to N1 such that F of H is equal to I of phi, where N1 is non-zero direct summand of N with canonical projection pi from N to N1. We give some examples. Every pseudo-injective module is AP injective, but converse need not be true. For example, if we suppose that R is equal to upper triangular matrix F, F0, F, where F is a field, and if we consider R as R module, then it is AP injective but not pseudo-injective module. Some results: let M and N be any two right arm modules, then any direct summand of APN injective is APN injective, and let Mi be a family of right arm modules. If the direct product Mi is APN injective, then each Mi is APN injective. If M is isomorphic to N, then M is APK injective, and only if N is APK injective. Every uniform non-singular AP injective right arm module is almost self-injective. In general, submodule of an AP injective module need not be APN injective, where N is an right arm module. For example, consider Q as a Z module is an APZ injective, but submodule Z of Q is not APZ injective. Proposition: let M and APN injective and L is a submodule of N such that any monomorphism F from L to M cannot be extended to N, then any submodule of M is an APN injective. Recall, a module M is said to be co-Hopfian, respectively Hopfian, if every injective, respectively surjective endomorphism F from M to M is an automorphism. Let M be uniform AP injective module, then M is co-Hopfian. Endomorphism ring of uniform AP injective module is local ring. Let R be any ring and omega be the class of R modules. Omega is called Socle fine. Whenever for any Mn belongs to omega, we have Socle of M is isomorphic to Socle of N if and only if M isomorphic to N. In the following theorem, we characterize the semi-simple ring in terms of AP injective module. The following conditions are equivalent for a ring R. R is semi-simple. The class of all AP injective R module is Socle fine. The class of all strongly AP injective R module is Socle fine. These are my references. Thank you.
So, Sandeep,
Yes, sir.
you can show again references.
Yes.
Okay. So you, which idea, pseudo-injective modules, this is a generalization of quasi-injective?
Yes, sir.
So here many generalizations have done of quasi-injective. So your AP injective lies where that's this is a pseudo-injective have generalization direct injective, finite direct injective, simple direct injective.
Yes,
So
sir.
where
AP
your structure
injective
lies
module,
that?
sir. AP injective module is generalization of almost injective module.
Almost injective module. Okay. You also this so that this is a generalization of pseudo-injective module.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this structure lies, I think, direct inject AP, every AP injective is, direct injective module?
No,
Studied or
sir.
not?
Not
Okay, okay,
I not studies.
okay. So, okay, so your presentation is very good. And any other questions?
Hello, Sandeep.
Yes,
Uh, uh, your area is injective module.
yes, sir.
You know the projective module?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So in projective module, we can define projective dimension.
Yes.
So can you define injective dimension?
No, sir. I do not know.
Actually, any module, we can find the finite resolution. So have you find the any finite resolution of AP injective module?
No, sir. I have no idea about this.
Okay, so you can try this one. Okay,
Yes.
and one thing, you mentioned local ring. Can you give the any example of local ring which is not a field?
Sir, local ring, all field is local rings.
Can this is happen? Can you give any example? This is local but not field.
The simple module is a local
I'm
ring.
a ring.
Ah,
Module
sorry,
is defined
simple.
over the ring. In the module is defined over ring. But I am asking
Yes.
the. Okay, nice presentation. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone, please? Anyone is interested to ask some question to Sandeep? Okay, thank you, Sandeep.
Yes.
Now we
Thank
are
you.
moving to the Chase.
Yes, sir.
Topic is projective module over commutative Noetherian ring. Noetherian graded ring. That's.
Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Is the slide visible, sir?
Yes, please go ahead. Just keep opening slide mode.
Yes, sir. Can you see it, sir?
Yeah, we can see your slide, but can you keep it in the slide mode?
I've put it in the slide mode, sir.
Presentation mode.
Presentation mode, I'm only in presentation mode, sir.
Okay.
My
Go ahead.
computer is showing presentation mode.
Make it in full screen.
Okay, let me try again. Is it fine now? Hello?
Just it's loading. Just wait. Yes, now it's fine.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sedeviko Chasya. I'm pursuing a PhD under the supervision of Dr. Manoj Kumar Patel, NIT Nagaland. And I've chosen FI semi-injective modules to present for this conference.
First thing is that your title is the written different things. Projective modules over commutative Noetherian graded ring. This is in your that's why topic different that's.
Which one, sir?
Yes.
Your topic is different, but you have submitted.
I submitted this one only, maybe some errors occurred.
Yes, sir. I can see he has submitted the abstract same FI semi-injective module, but actually in Chase we have some typo either our side. It is not your side, no?
Acha, okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
I can see his abstract. It's mentioned FI semi-injective module only.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, just sorry, Chess. Please go ahead.
Yeah, fine. So I'll begin with some definitions, but before I begin the definitions, just a brief history of whatever has been going on in this line of field. So in the recent years, around late 90s and all, the structures of principally injective rings, principally injective modules, and their various properties were studied extensively by authors like Nicholas, Yossi, Kuninsky, Wisdor, and all. So in that line, I have extended it to FI's semi-injective. FI stands for fully invariant. So let me begin with this definition. A right arm module N is called M principally injective if every homomorphism from an M cyclic submodule SM of M to N can be extended to a homomorphism from M to N. So here S.
Please
is for
speak little
homomorphism.
louder. Just please speak little louder.
All right. A module M is called semi-injective if it is M principally injective. A submodule K of M is called fully invariant if Sk is inside K for all endomorphism S. An R module M is called duo if all its submodules are fully invariant. A ring R is called a duo ring if R considered as a module of R itself is a duo module. This definition will come in later. Two modules M1 and M2 are called relatively or mutually Fi principally injective if M1 is Fi, M2 principally injective, and so is the case for M2. So here is the main thing where I've defined Fi, M principally injective. R module N is called fully invariant M principally injective, in short Fi M principally injective, if every homomorphism from a fully invariant M cyclic submodule Sm of M to N can be extended to a homomorphism from M to N. Equivalently, every homomorphism F from fully invariant M cyclic submodule Sm of M to N factors in the form this. F equals to GOI, as you can see from the diagram here. N is called Fi principally injective if it is Fi R principally injective. So I begin with a property of fully invariant and cyclic submodule. So let M be a right R module. For any fully invariant M cyclic submodule N of M, there exists a maximal submodule K of M such that K intersection N is equal to 0. Any sum and intersection of fully invariant M cyclic submodules of M is again a fully invariant M cyclic submodule of M. If K is fully invariant M cyclic submodule of N and N is fully invariant M cyclic submodule of M, then K is a fully invariant M cyclic submodule of M. And then if M is a direct sum of Mi, where I is here is some index set, is a direct sum of fully invariant M cyclic submodule Mi, and N is fully invariant M cyclic submodules of M, then Ne can be written as, or N is equal to direct sum of this Mi intersection N, which is equal to direct sum of this pi I. Pi I is the ith projection of M. So pi I of N. And I have some results here on Fi M principally injective. So under direct sum, the operation is this direct sum of Fi M principally is closed. So two modules N1 and N2 are Fi M principally injective, even only if N1 direct sum N2 is Fi M principally injective. And the corollary stands true for, say, direct sum of finite, where I is a finite index, and direct sum of I and I, if F is, this has to be is, sorry for the typo, is Fi M principally injective if each component and I is Fi M principally injective for finite index set I. And so is the case with product. finite product. And here, if fully invariant M cyclic submodule N of M is Fi M principally injective, then it is a direct summon of M. And there is another proposition here that K be a fully invariant M cyclic submodule of M and N be Fi M principally injective, then N is both Fi K as well as Fi M. If an R module M is Fi N principally injective, then every direct summon M1 of M is Fi N1 principally injective, where N1 is fully invariant N cyclic submodule of can be direct also. N1, N1 is a direct summon of N, then this also holds true. Two modules, M1 and M2, are relatively Fi principally injective if M1 direct sum M2 is Fi semi-injective. The corollary to this stands true for finite index I again. And then some definitions again from this. Every submodule of M is essential in a direct summon of M. Then we call that condition as C1. C2, the condition C2 stands for every submodule is isomorphic to a direct summon of, every submodule isomorphic to a direct summon of M is a direct summon of M, whose intersection is 0 is a direct summon of M. So an R module M is called extending, or CS, if and only if every closed submodule is a direct summon of M or it satisfies C1. So, and continuous if it satisfies C1 and C2, and quasi-continuous if it satisfies C1 and C3. So there are some results here again. Any Fi semi-injective module satisfy the conditions C1 and C3. Any directly finite extending Fi semi-injective module have the cancellation property. And so we have this implication that injective implies quasi-injective, quasi-injective implies semi-injective, semi-injective implies Fi semi-injective, but Fi semi-injectives need not always be continuous. So we look for conditions under which Fi semi-injective will be continuous. So an indecomposable Fi semi-injective module is continuous if and only if M is uniform. So likewise, we have some other results also, but I did not list out all those results here in the presentation. And there is another property here of Fi and principally injective that I wish to highlight. So it's about Morita invariant. So first, let me just quickly define what Morita invariant means. So let R and S be Morita equivalent rings. Then the property P of a module M is called Morita invariant if for every additive equivalence alpha from mod R to mod S, the category of modules here, alpha M has the property P, whenever M has P. So the proposition here is, or the result that we got here is, the property of being Fi M principally injective of a module is Morita invariant. And the corollary is that the property of being Fi semi-injective is a module of a module is Morita invariant. So this is all I have, and these are some references. I hope the font is not too small, but these are some references. Thank you.
Okay, very nice presentation by S. And due to some, I think, interruption of internet, because is actually presenting remote area. So, okay. So, any question?
Now I request at least Ratnesh sir can ask one question.
No. Actually, Dr. Manoj Patel and supervisor is Manoj Patel, and his supervisor also available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there are
Yes, yes,
experts,
yes.
there are major experts of.
Yeah,
Manoj,
I work with him, so I am most familiar with this work. But this is the joint work. How can I put some questions? So you,
No,
okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. I have a question.
yeah,
Ah,
please.
yes.
Just this. Just tell me what is maximal sum module.
Maximal submodule it cannot be contained in some other submodule.
Just little louder, please.
Maximal submodule it cannot be contained in some other submodules.
Sorry, it cannot be there.
It cannot be contained inside some submodules again.
Okay, okay. Can you give me one example of the maximal sum module?
Examples. Maximal
Okay, no.
submodule.
Okay,
So,
no
so
problem.
sorry. Yeah, not immediately.
Okay,
So
no
sorry.
problem.
Yeah.
Give me one example which is sum module but not a maximal sum module.
Trivial, those zero submodules will serve the purpose, but other examples,
Oh, okay, fine. Now, participant, please go ahead. You can ask some question to Chess. We have the time. We have so much. Participant, please go ahead. We have the Devraj Rai here, na? Devraj Rai.
Yes, Cheze.
yes, sir.
Is any connection of your Fi semi-injective and quasi-principal injective?
Because I've taken some help from those references. Yeah. So actually, numerous results has been proven, but I did not list them out here.
So you heard the quasi-principal injective?
Yes, sir. I went
So,
through that paper also. Yeah.
So Fi semi-injective is generalization of quasi-principal injective or not?
It'll be a generalization, sir.
Generalizations of quasi-principal injective. Also, you studied that some modules of Fi semi-injectives, quotient of what will be the Fi semi-injective is against Fi semi-injective or not?
We are studying those things right now, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, Ajit.
Yes, sir. Okay, yes, you did presented very well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll
Now-
stop sharing then.
Yes, yes. Now I request the next participant, Asutosh Pandey. Is he there?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. Wait a second, sir. I'm presenting, sir.
No problem. Take your own time.
Okay, sir.
It will be good if you are switch on the camera also.
Okay, sir. So,
Yes, we can see the screen. Some PDF
Yeah.
is visible.
so PDF is visible?
Yes, yes. That's perfect.
Okay, sir. So, sir, actually, this is the paper. I did not make slides because I think it is paper presentation. So I should share the our papers.
Okay. I think some miscommunication is there. No problem. But the things title is also not matching us to. Whatever you have sent the abstract, na?
So it is angel condition with pair of generalized derivation.
Yes.
So see abstract is same.
Okay, 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 no problem. Abstract is same, title some issue. Okay, please
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead. Please go ahead.
So the title of my paper is Angel Condition with Pair of Generalized Derivation on Lie ideal.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So
Okay, okay.
first I will read the abstract, then we will discuss the terms that are involved in this abstract. So abstract is, let R be a prime ring of characteristic different from 2, U be the Utumi quotient ring of R, and C be the extended centroid of R. So, and F and G be two generalized derivation on R, and L be a Lie ideal of R. So if F and G satisfies this identity, then either F and G are of this form, or capital R satisfies the standard identity S4. So let's discuss the terms that are involved in this abstract, because they will come more frequently in the paper. So R be a prime ring and U be the Utumi quotient ring. Utumi quotient ring is a particular type of quotient ring of R. For the time being, one can understand that it is a quotient ring of R, and R is isomorphically embedded in U. And C is the center of U. That is called the extended centroid of R. L is a Lie ideal of R. Lie ideal means the additive subgroup of R such that commutator of L, R is contained in L. F and G be two non-zero generalized derivation. So generalized to understand the generalized derivation, first of all, we will see what is derivation. So here is the definition of derivation. An additive mapping D on R is said to be derivation if it satisfies this Leibniz condition. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible.
Okay. So what is generalized derivation? An additive map F is said to be a generalized derivation if there exists a derivation D on R such that F satisfies this this property. F of xy is equal to f of x times y plus x times d of y for all x and y in R. So this is the definition of derivation and generalized derivation. Now we will see some more terms. The commutator of AB, this is commutator of A and B, and it is defined by AB minus BA. And the kth commutator of A and B is defined via this summation. Okay. So now I will come up to some history. How I come up to this problem. So very first, Posner proves this very fundamental problem. Posner proved that if commutator of a derivation and x is in the center of Z, then either the derivation is 0 or capital R is commutative ring. He proved this result on R. I mean, this x is coming from R. Then Lenski generalized the Posner's result by proving it on the Lie ideal. Means Lenski took the same identity, but this time kth commutator. This kth commutator is in center of R, and this x is coming from Lie ideal, not from R. So in this way, he generalized this result of Posner, and he proved that if this is true, then either the characteristic of R is 2 or R is contained in the two-ordered matrix ring. Recently, D. Filippi, he proved in the same line of investigation, he proved that he just replaced the derivation by a generalized derivation. So if the commutator of a generalized derivation and x is 0, then the form of f is either f of x is equal to a times x, where a belongs to C, or capital R satisfies the standard identity S4. So following the same line of investigation, Al-Hamadi, he proved that he took this identity with kth commutator. These x are coming from the ideal I of R, and n1, n2, n3 are fixed integers. So if this identity holds, capital G is a generalized derivation. So if this identity holds, then the form of G is x times C, where C is coming from the Utumi quotient, or capital R is isomorphic to the matrix ring of order 2 over F2, and this commutator also holds. So sorry, this is proved by Dimir and Arget. Later, Al-Hamadi generalized this theorem A. He took this identity. in this identity, capital G is generalized derivation, small g is simply a derivation. M, N, and R are fixed positive integers. So see, if in this identity, if we took G is equal to 0, then we will get the identity of theorem A. So theorem B is clearly a generalization of theorem A. But here this X is coming from R. Dhara and De Filippi generalized theorem C. They again took the same identity, but this time this U is coming from the Lie ideal. So what I did, I generalized theorem C, but this time I replaced this derivation small g by a non-zero generalized derivation. So what I did, so I took this identity. In this identity, F and G both are non-zero generalized derivation. M, N, and R are fixed positive integers, and U is coming from the Lie ideal. So if this identity holds, then F and G satisfies this for R. Capital R satisfies the standard identity S4. So what is my first? These are the facts that I used. So I will come to these facts whenever I will use in the proof of our main result. So this is the first lemma that I done. So here R is a matrix ring over K and T is greater or equal to 3. So if R satisfies this identity, then I show that B belongs to C. So see, there is a fact that center of a Utami quotient ring is field, means this C is a field. If R is a prime ring, then center of U means capital C is a field. So if capital R satisfies this identity, then B is central, means B belongs to C. How I prove this? So we prove this by contradiction. Suppose take this set W. Clearly W is an additive subgroup of R. Then by the main result in the reference 6, what is that reference saying? It is saying that if R is a ring different from characteristic 2 and R does not satisfy the standard identity S4, then any additive subgroup of R is either contained in the center of R or the commutator of R, R is contained in W, means the additive subgroup. So since this W is additive subgroup, so either it will contained in the center of R or commutator of R and R is contained in W. In the first case, if we took this W is contained in ZR, then clearly B will be in center, that is in C. So thus we consider the second case. I mean, now we consider this case. If R, commutator of R and R is contained in W, so in this case, clearly this equation 2 holds. Now denote W1 by commutator Z1 and Z2 and W2 by commutator X1 and X2. So choose these values of W1 and W2. Mean W1 by EIJ and W2 by EII minus EHS plus 2 EJH. So using these simple calculations and putting these values in equation 2, ultimately we reach to this expression. So this expression is non-zero. So non-zero is equal to non-zero term. That is a contradiction, means the second case is not possible. The only possible case is W is contained in the center of R, means B is central. Now I come up to second lemma. If this matrix ring satisfies this identity, then both B and C is central or B plus C is central. Again, we prove this by contradiction. In the first case, we assume that M is not equal to N and suppose that B is not central. Again, we consider this set W. W is clearly an additive subgroup. Then by the same main result of reference 6, either W is contained in the center of R or R, R is contained in W. In the first case, B belongs to center of R, and then equation 3 reduces to equation 4. On equation 4, we can apply lemma 1, that is B plus C is in center. B plus C is in center and B is already in center, therefore C is in center. So now we assume the second case. And in the second case, we will prove a contradiction. So since commutator of R, R is contained in W, therefore EIJ will be in W.
Ashutosh, please bind up. Next 2 minutes,
Okay.
Next 2 minutes, please bind up.
Okay, sir. So then I prove this this lemma 1.1. If capital R does not satisfy any non-trivial polynomial identity, in this case also A, B, C, D is in center, and A comma D comma B plus C is also in center. Then I will again prove this same identity over the matrix ring. So if R satisfies this identity, then again A, B, C, D is in center, or A comma D and B plus C is in center. Then I prove this proposition. If here R is not matrix ring, R is any non-commutative ring which satisfies this identity, then again A, B, C, D is in center, and A comma D comma B plus C is in center, or R satisfies the standard identity S4. Then I prove our main theorem, which I stated in the abstract. So in this case, what I showed that in the main proof, I showed that F and G should be only inner derivation. If I take F and G non-inner, then I prove the contradiction. So it is a fact that F and G can be written in this form, where D and delta is derivation. So what I showed that D and delta must be inner simultaneously. If they are not inner simultaneously, then there will be a contradiction. So if if D and delta are simultaneously inner, then by proposition that I proved above, we have our result. So this is my all about my paper. These are the corollaries of this result. These are some famous I mean this result generalized all of the previous works. So these are all the corollaries of this result. So thanks. So
Okay. Very nice presentation, Ashutosh ji. And you submitted this paper, published this paper. This paper is published, or
no, it is submitted and it is under review.
Achha, this is under review. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. So okay. So any question from participant side, sir?
Now I can ask Manoj sir. Manoj sir, please go ahead.
No, sir. No question is here.
Okay, just there is an announcement. Just to check your chat box is there. You will get the feedback form link. Click there before the leave this session. In the field Google form.
Okay.
Just check your chat box, everyone. Do now, Ashutosh.
Yes, sir.
So what is your main work?
So main work means
how means this result is you are expecting going to publish, means this is different from the existing one.
So I did not get you. I mean, I did not get your point.
Just go to the top abstract.
Okay.
We're talking about this is our main work. How this is different from the previous work? Abstract. Go to abstract.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
then one of the following hold.
Yes, sir.
How do you know what is the guarantees one of the following three is going to hold only? What is the guarantee?
I prove this. I mean, just if you want to check, then this put this in this identity, and this identity will true. Actually, I proved this, so that's why I guarantee that these are the only possible cases.
Okay. Thank you. So is it your first presentation?
Yes, sir. It is my first presentation.
Yeah, I hope you got the idea. Next time you have to make the presentation. Okay. Anyone? Audience, please. participant. Do you have any question to Asutosh? Okay. Thank you, Asutosh. Now you can leave. Now, time for the first participant. Anuradha is there. Do you have the Anuradha here? So we are going to mark her the absent. We have ended the session. I once again repeat, everyone, just check your chat box. You will find one feedback link is there. Before leaving the session, just fill the Google form. Now at the last, I request everyone to turn on the camera. If it's possible for them, please turn on the camera. And then this Tapaswini there. Tapaswini, you can take the screenshot. Tapaswini there.
Yes, sir.
You can take the screenshot. Everyone, please turn on the camera.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Wait. Okay. Please keep on. We are waiting. We are getting some more response. Okay, now, sir, Gupta sir, any remark?
Yes. Actually, I was seeing the forms were available. That's yes. Okay. So I think all the presentation over in only 6 presentation, 1 absent, and okay. So this session is over. Ajit?
Yes, sir.
What have to do?
Nothing. Sir, we will do. We have the evaluation form. We will send and send it to the organizer.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Now,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to our respected chairperson for taking time out of their busy schedule to chair this session. Thank you, sir, for your kind support. Thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you.
So, ओके अजीत जी फिर लीव किया जाए। मनोज कैसे हो?
अच्छे हैं सर।
अब हम मनोज सर का वेट कर रहे हैं, कब नागालैंड बुलाते हैं हमें।
बिल्कुल।
अरे अवनीश जी भी ज्वाइन कर लिए हैं। अवनीश जी भी ज्वाइन कर लिए हैं।
मनोज सर थोड़ा अपना शकल तो दिखा दो।
दिखाया
तभी तो पिक्चर लिया।
अरे सर एक मिनट, एक फोटो खींच लेना।
रमेश जी भी देखिए कैमरा ऑन किए हैं।
नाउ वी हैव द अविनाश सर आल्सो।
अविनाश जी भी आ गए हैं। लेसन ओवर हो गया।
अशोक सर से मिले मेरे कई 2000 सर, आपको याद भी है मैं 2008 या 9 में आया था, आपसे मिला था।
अच्छा, याद नहीं आ रहा है।
तो अशोक सर जो कॉन्फ्रेंस कराए थे सर उसमें।
अच्छा।
अरे बड़ा बढ़िया, अवनीश जी भी है, ये सभी लोग हम लोग मिले थे।
6 में 3 स्टूडेंट अवनीश सर का ही था इधर प्रेजेंटेशन करते हुए।
अभिनव फोटो ले लिया, अवनीश सर आए तो तब लिया है। ठीक, चलो ठीक है।
बहुत अच्छा लगा सबसे मिलके।
बच्चे अच्छा प्रेजेंट किए, बहुत बढ़िया। गुड।
नहीं अच्छा था।
एक्चुअली आज हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में लाइट कट हो गई 9 से 5 और हमें पता ही नहीं, और मैं घर पे संजोग से आ गई लाइट, घर पे भी चली गई थी। हमको कैसे मैं सेशन करूंगा।
सर भोलेनाथ की नगरी में है आप, जो है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आ ही जाता है, कोई न कोई व्यवस्था कर ही देते हैं।
हाँ बस यही है कि अब मुझे लगा एक बार कि कैसे कहीं दिक्कत ना हो जाए, लेकिन फिलहाल आ गई लाइट, जो है घर पे आ गई तो मैं कर लिया। ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच।